Good morning and good afternoon, guys. We're back for another Geek Tavern. It's me, Shawn, and as always, I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron.
Yo.
And, let's just jump right into it. I've only watched one movie. I watched it yesterday, actually. It's called Under the Silver Lake. It is one of the most strange movies I've ever watched. It's like 2 hours long. I don't think you would like it at all.
Yeah,
I don't think you'd like it either, Aaron.
I don't know.
Who's in it?
Andrew Garfield plays the lead. Basically, it's like he lives in LA and he is like getting kicked out of his apartment, but he lives next to somebody and she goes missing and he thinks that she's murdered, and he like goes around the city trying to find these like hidden messages and stuff and all this subliminal messaging and things. That's like the whole movie.
I don't think I'd mind that.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a cop drama. I mean, he's not a cop, obviously, but like a mystery guy. I probably would actually like it.
2 weeks ago, shortly after we recorded last time, I watched one of my favorite movies of recent years, Logan Lucky.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good movie. I know Shawn's seen it. Mike, you would probably really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Adam Driver, Channing Tatum, Daniel Craig. It's a really good movie.
I remember seeing advertisements for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen it, but
it's very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also got the Legend. I was telling Aaron earlier. I got the Legend of Korra full series, and I'm already 2 seasons into that. So I only have 2 more seasons of that. But
I can't believe you worked your way through the first part of that. The
Avatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished the Avatar a little while ago. It's so good. It's on Netflix now. I recommend. I mean, I know you've seen it, Aaron. I don't think you've watched it at all.
No.
But I highly recommend watching it. It's really good.
It was a great series.
The beginning of it's a little childish. And, I mean, obviously, it's a Nickelodeon show. Right. So it's going to be that way. But if you get past...
It's very well done, though. Yeah, it evolves into something much
serious
more.
Adult themes, too. If you get to, like, the ending of season 1, like, right when they make it to the North Pole, then that's, like... I think that you're, like, hooked for the rest of the series at that point.
That North Pole thing, not to, like, deviate too far, but the North Pole season 1 finale... When Fire Lord Ozai talks to Azula and all you see is him silhouetted and you hear the voice. And then when I realized that was Mark Hamill and Zuko like hates his father and his father thinks he's a disgrace and all that. And I was like, is it ironic that Mark Hamill is playing the evil overlord whose son wants to overthrow him?
The vision has become true.
Yeah, and I know that Star Wars was part of the inspiration for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Is that what Dave Filoni worked
Dave
on?
Filoni was part of it. Yeah. He was an animator on it before he moved to Clone Wars.
Well, it had to be pretty surreal to get Mark Hamill to work on that.
Yeah, for real. But I remember just like I was like 10 when that finale happened, and I was like, Mark Hamill. I was like, that's Luke Skywalker.
Fire Lord Ozai is like the only character that isn't an actual character. He's just like comically evil for the sake of being evil, but every other character actually like is a character.
Even Cabbage Guy.
Yeah, even
Cabbage Guy is even a character. So give me that spin-off.
Yeah.
What year did the first season come out?
2004? 2006? Something like that.
Okay, so that makes total sense. There was this weird time in my life. So 2004, I would have been 14. So like I was in that weird stage where I was like, Nickelodeon's for kids. You know, like, because there's that weird stage where it was like, nope, not watching that kind of
stuff. I think that is like the natural time.
Yeah.
Where like 14, 15, you're like, okay, like, so like I'm done.
So there's a lot of stuff like this that I just was like, was having none of, you know.
Whenever I was in college, that's when Adventure Time and regular shows started coming out, and I still tried to watch those. Well, and those are really good.
Well, yeah, like Cartoon Network had a lot of like hits for it, but like Nickelodeon, like I saw a meme where people were talking about like, when did Sandy have kids or something, and I'm like. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, there's been like a 15-year period where I don't know what has happened in SpongeBob. It's still going on.
Yeah, I don't know at what point I cut off from SpongeBob. Not to get on a SpongeBob tangent, but
I love SpongeBob.
No,
like, I'll watch the old episodes.
I still put on like I'll put on season. I think there's season 1 and 2 maybe.
Yeah, they're still very quality.
Amazon Prime.
Oh
yeah. It's on. And yeah, they're still funny, but I don't know.
Yeah, and they ruined everything else, like the Fairly Odd Parents and all this
Oh,
stuff.
dude, I love the Fairly Odd Parents.
I did too. And then I think it was after...
And there's a point in that I cut off, too.
Yeah.
Like,
and it still went on. I think it was around Poof.
Yeah, they had a baby.
I was out before Poof.
When Poof came in, I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, they had the baby, and then they had a wizard, or
the dog.
Fairly Odd Parents dog.
Yeah.
And then Timmy shares Cosmo and Wanda with a girl now. I don't know if it's still going on, but that's how it ended.
Yeah, I remember that's like the last thing that I heard about
Did you guys ever see the live action with Drake Bell?
Yes, I
did.
did.
I didn't watch it, but I knew of its existence.
Spoiler alert, no.
I think I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I think I watched the whole thing like a couple years ago.
I can't remember. Was Drake and Josh wasn't still going on? It was like
No.
they dug up Drake Bell.
Yeah, it was
and they're
after,
like, hey, you want some more Nickelodeon money? And he's like, yeah, I guess, because I'm not really doing
it was
anything
either
else.
after or during Drake and Josh.
It was
actually.
after Drake and Josh,
Okay.
because, Drake...
It was in between, though. He voiced Spider-Man in the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
He does it in the Ultimate Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Well,
So he got Disney and...
yeah,
Well, it
he's
wasn't Disney
Nickelodeon
money then.
He's still poor, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like he had some huge financial trouble. He was like...
He was going around in the band scene. A girl that I know, well, you might know her, Shmay.
Mm.
She actually got to like work with him. Like she took a picture with him and
Mhm.
everything. Like got to work under him for a day or something.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty cool. Anyway.
Hey, I'm Drake Bell. Uh-huh. Yeah, I used to be on Nickelodeon. Yeah, what are you doing now? I'm thinking about killing myself.
So there's are we moving on from
Yeah. Well,
yeah, we can
there's
move
some
on.
pretty interesting news with
Big news.
yeah, with Justice League.
Talk about
Remember that
Avengers
movie?
level threat.
Yeah, the internet trolls finally award DC
Are you
down.
happy now?
Uh,
You broke Warner Brothers, one of the biggest studios.
They're like, all right, fine, we'll fucking make your Snyder cut here. And
Here's
I don't know.
30 million more.
yeah, I don't know if you heard about this. So first of all, that movie was already the most expensive movie ever made.
Right, I knew that.
And now it is like 20 to 30 million more dollars.
Because they're gonna add Darkseid in.
Yeah, isn't
Can't
that
have that movie without Darkseid.
Oh my god.
isn't that embarrassing?
Yeah,
That is so much money.
that's crazy.
No, listen. Like I feel for Zack Snyder. I feel for him because he
Yeah.
had a great tragedy befall him during the production of this
Yeah,
movie.
wasn't it like a
His
family?
daughter.
killed herself.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if it was that. But
I
know
think
that
it
she-
was a
yeah.
suicide.
Okay, I knew it was. I remembered it being a family death of some sort.
Yeah, it was his daughter, and like don't get me wrong, I feel for the guy, but like he expressed like no hard feelings about it. He was like, hey, you know, I did what I could do with the movie, and then I there was nothing more that I could do. We couldn't halt production for stuff like that.
Right.
But then everyone on the internet's like, no, I hate Joss Whedon. Like, listen, Justice League is not great. There's really nothing memorable about it to me. It was just kind of Batman and friends fight hordes of things.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even Batman and friends. It was more Wonder Woman took charge in this, which I was fine with. You know, I love Gal Gadot. I'll watch her on screen for hours. But, like, Batman just really took the back seat because in, like, every scene they, like, have this, like, epic battle and Batman's like like at the end, like trailing behind, and I'm just like, oh, this is pathetic.
Yeah.
And then you know, it's an okay movie. It's not great. Batman versus Superman is still worse in my opinion.
Yeah, that movie's terrible.
But
yeah, I differ on that one. We don't have to get into that. But
that's another episode that we could, but
I mean, I don't think it's great, but
I'll
just say it so people aren't wondering. Like, I just generally like it. Like, I've seen it a few times in the theater.
see, I need to watch it again.
Like,
to see if I
legit
actually
like
hate it or not.
And I like the extended cut more.
That's the one that I need to watch. Is the extended.
It's
cut.
just long as I'll get out.
Oh yeah. But like Zack Snyder didn't express any like hard feelings or anything. It was just the internet just took it upon itself to bully a studio into shelling out $30 million more.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that the COVID impact really helped push them in that direction.
I think so
because
too.
they couldn't release anything, so they're going, "What do we do?" And they go, "Well, we've got HBO Max coming out. Let's shell this money."
It's gonna bring some people on board.
Yeah,
yeah.
People are definitely gonna
is.
subscribe to it, or at least a free trial.
Yeah,
like a 30-day trial to watch that movie.
Or 14 days. They usually do 14 days.
But they're definitely going to jump on to watch that cut of it.
I mean, I am.
And
I
then
thought
they're gonna
about getting
release
it
it
just
on-
to.
Yeah, I want to get it. I want to get it just because it's like it's so vast.
Well, all the Westworld's on there.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first season.
It's HBO, it's Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Toonami, Crunchyroll, TBS, I believe TNT, all of the
well, you got me on
Ghibli
TNT.
films, and the Miyazaki movies. It's like a vast subscription.
Wow.
Hold on. So what you're telling me is it's cable.
Yeah, it's basically a cable substitute.
Like, hell, if I get Hulu in that, I'm like, I'll get rid of DirecTV, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing you could do is get. I mean, if you want to do that, get Hulu Live TV and then HBO Max, and I think you're pretty much solid.
You'd be set with just that because the Hulu Live even like there's outside studios that like MTV's on there. I believe Disney's on there. Well, Disney owns Hulu, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think there's going to be like a. Well, you can put Stars on there. Stars owned by anybody?
No, I don't
Just
think
their
so.
own thing.
Yeah.
See, there's gonna be it's gonna be hilarious when DirecTV is like $10 a month, please. For the love of God, keep us in business.
Honestly, this is a debate we could have for quite a while, to be honest. But I can't believe that cable and satellite even exist anymore.
It's still like the older generation paying for it.
I mean, I have cable only because it was literally $10 more than what I was paying for internet. Like they bundled it in, and it's literally $10. So, I mean, I was like, I guess I'll have it for that, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
but these people that pay for DirecTV and like stuff, like just because it's ridiculous.
My mom and dad still have it, and but like last week or the week before, my mom or dad was like, "Why do we even still have DirecTV?" But then my dad was like, "Cause I watch like the concert channel or whatever on there." And that's like literally the only thing that they like. My mom strictly watches like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Go, all of that. And my dad is literally the only person who uses it. It's
like the like MTV Classic. Or
it's the
or the Access TV.
Access TV,
okay.
Yeah, that's the one that he watched.
That if that channel ever got onto something else, I feel like people.
Oh, he'd immediately drop DirecTV
because
like immediately.
Because I want that channel too, but I'm like, I'm not buying DirecTV.
Yeah,
yeah. So they're resurfacing Justice League from its grave and making this
like resurrecting Superman from the dead.
Frankenstein this corpse of a movie together.
Think they'll fix his mustache?
You think they'll give him the black suit?
I have no idea.
Because that was part of the original story.
I am excited to see like what differs, but I don't know. It's gonna be 4 hours long.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Did you?
Now, do you think at the end that Darkseid will boom tube into the Batcave and murder Lois Lane?
One could help.
Like Zack Snyder originally wanted.
What's her name? Amy Adams.
Amy Adams. Yeah.
I would totally be fine if they murdered Lois Lane.
Yeah, she's
at least she's a better Lois Lane than the TV one.
I don't hate Amy Adams as an actress at all. I hate her Lois Lane.
Really?
Hate it. That's one thing that I completely despise about Batman versus Superman. Is every time
her in that one. No,
like the movie. Like the movie is a train. Imagine it as a train. It's going. Amy Adams comes in. They jam those brakes so goddamn hard. I forget what movie I'm watching.
Yeah.
And then when it goes back, I'm like, oh, I'm watching Batman versus Superman. But then like she shows up in Justice League, like in the middle, and she's talking to Ma Kent at the Daily Planet.
Oh.
And immediately the brakes just get slammed on, and there's just this out of place, slow as hell scene, and then it's over, and I'm like, oh, here we are, back to the action. I'm sitting in my seat like half falling asleep, and then I wake back up because they're back in Russia or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is happening.
I didn't mind her in the Superman movie.
Yeah, she's okay.
I thought she was alright in that.
In Man of Steel. Yeah, because they didn't overuse her.
I might also just be slightly infatuated with her because she's a redhead. So.
No, I like Amy Adams.
Yeah.
But I think that there are other actresses. I had this discussion with multiple people. I think there are other actresses who could have portrayed her better.
Oh, probably.
Well, that maybe it wouldn't have been as jarring when she shows up and the whole movie just stops.
Surprised, actually, now to think about it, were people ever mad that she isn't like a brunette?
I don't think so.
Because isn't that like her thing?
Yeah, I don't think anybody actually cared.
Okay.
I think they were glazed over because of Zack Snyder's Jesus prologues and overtones to his Superman that people were just like, whatever. There's so much other going on in this movie. We don't care that she's a redhead.
Well, you had something you wanted to discuss, right, Aaron?
Oh, yeah. So...
Well, do we want to stick with DC real quick?
If you have something else to say, yeah.
Well, just that about Ruby Rose.
Oh, right,
that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
Ruby Rose is out as Batwoman.
That's so funny to me.
After only one season. So that
I think
I
she
don't know.
had been under contract.
Well, here's the thing. They reported it as a mutual separation. And I guess there was somewhere reports or something that like she might have been like very difficult to work with or something. Something like that. I'm not going to go any further because I don't know the facts. But yeah, so she's out after one season.
I didn't watch it.
I watched
did
about
they
4
recast?
episodes and I'm like...
Is it bad? Because I thought it would be bad.
It's not bad, per se. It might just be down to her. She has like an awkwardness to her. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I've heard that she works in like Orange is the New Black. I don't even know if she's a main character, but like people like her in other things. But I don't think she worked as Batwoman.
Yeah, I didn't get that feeling. I saw the that crossover event with her.
Yeah,
and yeah, I didn't. I wasn't feeling it then.
Actually, when she's in the suit, it's a little more tolerable. But like her, I don't even know her. What's her name? Something Kane, isn't it?
I don't know.
Cassandra Cain.
Yeah, her outside the bat suit, just I don't know. She has an awkwardness to her, so it just didn't vibe well. I think with that universe, I guess. But
that's fair.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who they cast. Really.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been hearing a couple different things, but I have no opinion on the matter. It's
either gonna be that, or the next announcement you're gonna hear is Batwoman gets canceled after one season.
Well, yeah, that's very possible as well, but.
Ooh,
they haven't canceled Supergirl, so I don't think they're going to cancel.
They have. But speaking of getting canceled after one season, I want to talk about the Tron Uprising show.
Slick.
That we talked about last time we did my recommendation, which was Tron Legacy, and I had brought up the Tron Uprising. Well, I revisited it on Disney Plus. Fun fact, Mike, if you are going to watch it, the first episode is not on Disney Plus.
Really?
For some reason, it goes 2 and then finishes the rest of the season. They don't have the first episode. So you can watch the pilot on Hulu, I think.
Okay.
That gives you the whole backstory. But in each episode, it catches you up on like what happened in the last episode.
Okay.
It's a really well-structured show, and I think I've stumbled upon why it got canceled. Because their cast list is ridiculous. And I know I sent you guys the...
like in a good way or a bad way?
I'll go through the cast list and we'll talk about why I think that the budget went strictly to this cast and then they had no money to fund a second.
Well, that's what I wondered if that's the way you were going with that. Yeah.
So our main character, Beck, is played by Elijah Wood.
Right. Yeah.
Trisha Helfer from Battlestar Galactica is the grid, like the voice that catches you up at the beginning of the episode.
I know the name. I can't put a face.
Bruce Boxleitner plays Tron throughout the entire season. He pops in every now and again to train Beck and all this. Paul Rubens plays Pavel, one of the villains.
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee Herman.
Okay.
Lance Henriksen from Aliens. He was Bishop, the android.
Right, okay.
Plays General Tessler through the entire season.
I'm glad you're putting different characters that these people play because I don't know people's names.
Reginald Val Johnson, who is Carl from Family Matters, and he was also... Wasn't his name Carl in
I don't know.
Die Hard too?
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was. I thought they were the same person. Wow, like I thought that was the same exact
weird
character.
crossover, yeah.
He plays Abel, who is Beck's boss at the mechanic shop he works at. David Arquette plays Link.
Wow.
Donald Faison plays Bartik. Paul Scheer plays Hopper. John Glover plays Dyson, another villain. Aaron Paul plays Cyrus, who's another villain. And Fred Tatasciore, he's a voice actor, famous voice actor. He's done a lot of stuff. I could name off what he's done, but he voices Clue and Flynn in the flashbacks, and he also voices him in the game, the Tron Evolution game. Lance Reddick plays a character called Cutler. Matt Jones, who, if you guys would see a picture of him, you'd recognize him. He plays a couple different characters. Kate Mara plays a character named Pearl. Olivia Wilde reprises her role as Cora. Adam Devine plays a character named Galt.
Oh my god.
Ben Schwartz plays Rilo. Kevin Michael Richardson, which it's not surprising. He's in a lot of stuff. But like, I was just looking at that cast and I was like, okay, there's some A-listers on that cast.
Yeah, that's...
And one of them is a main character. Elijah Wood plays the main character the entire way through. So I was just like looking at that cast list and I was like,
what year was the show?
2011, I think.
Okay, so around the time of the movie.
Yeah. It came out, I think, 1 year after the movie. Okay. Because there was a buzz afterward where people were like, hey, you kind of want more of this.
Well, and understandably,
the show's great. Like, if you watch the show, it's really well structured. Like, the visuals are great. The way that the people are modeled, it's a little weird, but then again, they're programmed, so you don't really care.
Yeah.
It's very stylized, but it's animated almost in the same way like anime is done nowadays, where it's like kind of 3D.
Right.
But has a 2D quality to it. But
I guess like that Netflix movie Claws or whatever.
Yeah. But I definitely recommend like you give it a watch, because being just a first season, like you get to the end and you're like, no, like I want more of this.
Well, that's how I felt after the movie. You know.
Yeah, definitely watch that, because it takes you more in depth to the world, and there's more than just the city that's in Tron Legacy.
Yeah,
like this takes place in a whole other city under the occupation of Clue. But you get like a way more in depth, like. It becomes like this Blade Runner world.
Yeah,
it's really cool. Like I've been rewatching it because there are 19 episodes in a season.
Well, at least there's that many.
Yeah, so I mean you get, and they're like a half hour long, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean you get quite a lot out of it.
Because it really sucks when there's a show that's only one season, but it's like 10 or 13 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you get a lot out of it.
The first one that comes to my mind was. I watched a spin-off of Criminal Minds. I think it was Suspect Behavior or something. And it was literally only 10 or 13 episodes. Again, I don't know actors' names. I'm bad at that. But the guy that played in Rogue One, the guy they find, the black guy. I can't think of
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. He was the main character in this spin-off show.
Oh.
And like it was phenomenal. It only lasted one season.
It always sucks. Like there are those shows. Well, Firefly.
Yeah,
there are those shows that are so
I never
great.
watched it, but that's why I actually haven't went back and watched it, because I'm like, well, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like it's stuff like that where it's it's great, and then it just ends, and you're like, no, like how did you go about doing this?
Yeah, right.
No contingency, no nothing. You were gonna make a comic book to follow it up with. Like I get that's much cheaper.
Like there's enough fan, love for the series that you think you could like go and at least do. I know they did a movie of Firefly. I don't know if it takes place after.
Serenity. Yeah,
does it take place after?
It's after the show. Yeah, but
was it after they knew it was done or?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing is.
Does that tie it up? Or?
There's a strange production behind Firefly. So the network that it aired on didn't air the episodes in the order that they were supposed to be released. So it aired like the second episode or third episode first.
Yeah.
And then went back and did that. So
That sounds...
So it was like they basically didn't give it a chance to start, and then there was still like this cult following behind it after the nonsense of like how it was released,
right?
And so they couldn't get the funding from it. They were canceled, and then like people were like, "We need another season," or they did some kind of crowdfunding for a movie.
Okay.
So then they're like, "We're probably not going to get another season," so they made Serenity the movie,
right?
And then I guess nobody went to see that either because they probably could have jumped the season after that, but didn't happen.
So Firefly literally aired like a Western.
Well,
like where it doesn't matter what or like kind of like the A-Team, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't matter what episode airs. So it has no continuity to a prior. Yeah.
Because so the first episode is an hour long, and then that's why they didn't air it first, because it's an hour-long introduction episode.
Okay.
And they just skipped right to episode 2. And, they basically fucked it from the beginning.
Wow. I do have to go back. Like, it's been on my list for, well, probably over, I'd say, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. I don't remember when it came out, but...
Yeah, it was like right after Buffy. So it was a while ago.
There's an alien nod in there.
Mm.
Well, there's actually a theory that Firefly and Alien take place in the same shared universe.
Okay.
Because when they're shooting down something, one of the gunner things, there's a Weyland-Yutani logo branded on one of like the pieces of equipment.
Interesting.
It is interesting. I like those little nods to things in there.
Well,
that was a heck of an intro.
We've spent 30 minutes rambling about it.
Speaking of a character named Link, I don't know, there was some...
No, there was, you're right.
We had a recommendation last time from myself. Red Sun. It is a Western, 1971. It came out starring Charles Bronson and a couple other people. And basically the story is of a train hijacking that doesn't go exactly as planned. The main character gets double-crossed by his associate, and they steal a ceremonial sword that a Japanese ambassador is on his way to deliver to the president. And the samurai and Link, our main characters, are tasked with hunting down Ghosh, our villain, and retrieving the sword and getting it back to the Japanese ambassador in a week's time, or they will... Kuroda is going to kill Link and then himself because he failed. So basically, our story is following them through the desert. And what did you guys think?
I just have to say, I loved this movie. I
also
legitimately loved this movie. Like, I told Shawn earlier, I didn't go into detail or anything, but I said I was going to watch this movie in 2 parts because I saw it was over like almost 3 hours long, and I was like, holy shit. So I was like, all right,
long?
hour and 53 minutes.
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
I was gonna say it was roughly 2, I thought. Yeah.
So I was like watching this, and I'm like, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this movie is long. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I'll get through half of this, and then I'll finish the other half tomorrow. And I watched this last night, so I was like, all right, I'll finish it later. Too. And I'm like sitting there watching this, and I'm like, okay, all right, it's a train thing. And then he gets double crossed. I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay. I'm like, Ghosh seemed like a dick to begin with. I was like, okay, yeah, that's not unheard of in his character. And then, so I'm vaguely familiar with Toshiro Mifune, who plays Kuroda, because he's been in 16 of Kurosawa's 30 films. Like, he's been the main character for like 6 or 7 of them. And I've always wanted to watch those because they have inspiration, like Star Wars has drawn inspiration from a lot of the Kurosawa films and all that. So I want to go back and watch those eventually. So this is the first movie that I've ever watched with him in it. And for a guy who speaks like very broken English, he was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. He was fantastic. But that's one thing. Like when they took the sword and everything, then I started to get hooked. And then I'm like, okay. And I'm like looking at the clock and it's getting to like 11:30 and I'm like, no, I'm finishing this. So I watched it the whole way through and like I said, I loved this movie.
So I wouldn't say that I loved it per se. I didn't hate it. So I'll put that out. I just thought there was a lot of nonsense shots. Like,
oh, of course. For
like,
a 1970s
they
Western,
could have easily made
had...
this like maybe 90 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of walking montages. I didn't need them.
Those shots that look like they were filmed with a camcorder of him on
And
the
then
horse, where they like zoom in on the hillside, like in
Those
Rise
were
of
pretty
Skywalker.
Yeah.
Remember that shot in the Rise of Skywalker where they did that weird 70s Western zoom?
Yeah,
as they're walking up on the coast?
I noticed that shot every time.
It was so out of place.
Yeah, that was one thing. There was two noticeable ones that were very bizarre to me, where they just zoom in. It was whenever Link tries to escape from Kuroda the first time after killing those guys at the homestead, and it zooms in on Kuroda as he's just like wandering around by himself. I'm like, that was weird.
But so the length was not my favorite part, but I did find myself, much like Aaron, I was pretty much sucked in pretty quickly.
Right.
I have never seen a Charles Bronson movie, nor did I know who he was until 2016. And the only reason I know who he is because of that song that I sent you guys. I don't know if you listened to it. But,
Yeah, I listened to like the first couple minutes of it. Yeah.
But yeah. So that band had a
He was
song
like the
about
action star of the 70s.
right? Yeah. And so this is my first outing with Charles Bronson, and I don't think it's going to be my last because I was looking up his.
Death Wish is on Amazon Prime, which is one of his best movies.
Well, that was one I was looking into because I think it might be one of his top bills. It comes up first when you look at Google. So
Yeah. I thought that he was really good in this too. Charles Bronson was.
There was a shot where, and like I said, I don't know anything about him, but watching this movie, and then he takes his shirt off at some point. I forget what he's doing. I'm like, holy crap, this dude is like jacked.
Yeah,
I thought he was just like a skinny guy. You know?
he was he's got a build to him. It was probably after he was gonna drown Kuroda in the river.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
And then and that's one thing I liked about him too. It's like, yeah, he stole from the train and everything. Like he hijacked the train, and that's a bad thing to do. But he recognized after traveling with Kuroda for a while that it's like, this is like his honor is based off of this mission.
Mm-hmm.
And he ditched him, and it happens a couple of times throughout the movie. He gets the drop on him, and he's like, okay, I need you to promise me that you aren't going to kill Ghosh as soon as we find him, because I need to find out where the money is. And Kuroda's resistant the whole time. He doesn't get it out of him at the river, but he's like, you're such a stubborn bastard or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he teams up with him and keeps moving with him.
Yeah.
Like he escaped from him, but then he goes back with him.
Well, it was basically that Charles Bronson's character was basically just a survivor. He's going to work with whoever can get him to his finish line.
Yeah.
That's how I viewed it.
Yeah. And I think that whenever Kuroda's like, Japan is a lot like the United States now. It's, the way of the samurai is going away. So I have to succeed this one last mission before I go back and the way of the samurai goes away. I thought that kind of, I think that's what kind of persuaded Link.
Did they give like a timeline when this was supposedly?
It did. It said like 1890 or something. Yeah. 1880, 1890. Something
I figured it was somewhere there.
Yeah. But that's what drew me to it, because a lot of people don't realize that cowboys and samurais existed like historically at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of was like what drew me to the movie in the first place.
It's kind of funny that like people talk about the way that Star Wars was created.
Mm-hmm.
Was it has its very East and West cultural influences, where it's a Western. Star Wars is a Western.
Right.
But it has like the samurai type of knights to it and all of that. So I mean, like it's kind of funny that this movie, like, I wonder if that was maybe like part of it. That maybe like Lucas watched it at one point and was like, neat. So, like that's mixing the East and West.
I thought that. Sorry, do we know if like, is this one well regarded as a good Bronson movie?
I don't know, but
I'm not sure.
I thought it was. I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but like I liked it enough that it got me interested in Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
But like I just wondered how this movie was, regarded.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
but
I thought that he pretty good action. In
what was the line that Link said to? He said to Kuroda, he said, I think you're something, and Kuroda goes, I think you're son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's
I love that line.
That's the second time whenever he's Kuroda is bathing in a spring.
Oh, yeah,
in the mountain, and then Link steals his clothes, and that's when he finally persuades Kuroda. It's like, I'll give you all your clothes back if you promise me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then Kuroda's like, okay, I won't kill him until you say it's okay, which that comes back at the very end, and we'll get to that. And then that's what he said. He's like, I think you're one hell, or he says something. It's like, I think that you're one heck of a guy.
Yeah,
and then he's like, right. I think that you're a son of a bitch.
Yeah, I love that line.
I thought that the music was great because it was like a Western theme.
That's my only complaint is the music in some parts sounded really goofy.
But it was like Westerny, but it also had like the chimes of the East.
So all the walking montages used the same song.
Yeah, they did.
I'm sick of this.
I think like no, you're right that the music did incorporate those like. Each different cultural.
I hate that I didn't pick up on that because that is cool.
Yeah,
I think that this movie would have really, really have been heightened by an Ennio Morricone score.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah,
I think this would have just taken it all the way up.
Yeah, they probably didn't have like a lot of budget to throw.
They didn't have Ennio Morricone.
Seemed kind of like a lower budget film.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
It's a great premise though. Like in that whole era of westerns, like you have so many westerns that are almost like the same exact thing happening
it's like
in
the
each one.
Script almost.
That this was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's very
like
interesting.
cowboy and samurai team up.
I like in the very beginning too, where you just see how ruthless Ghosh is because he like
the soldier.
Yeah, well, Link is like starting the raid or whatever, and there's the one elderly guy that's like reaching for a gun and he just blasts him down and then he kills the guy sitting behind him too because it goes through him and he doesn't even like react to it.
No, he doesn't care.
Yeah, and then as you were saying, Aaron, they're catching up to the train. He's like, here, and he gives him his hand.
The
and then
soldier, he's like, all right, he's like, come here, brings him up and he takes his gun out and just shoots him and he just falls off.
And he kills like his own men too.
Yeah.
After they get the money, well, obviously he double crosses Link. And then they're like burying it, I think. They're burying the money, right?
Yeah.
And then Ghosh is like, hurry up, and then he just goes bam, 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 and like
he tells them all to hurry up. And here's what I thought happened at that scene. I thought he just was shooting the ground to like
get them to hurry up. Yeah. But instead, no, he killed
and then they're all laying there. I'm like, oh.
I'll tell you one part that literally like I was scared for the character when Hyatt goes back and he tells him, hey, they got your girl and everything, and Ghosh just turns around and goes back into his room where he was, and then he comes out with his vest and his gun and his hat on, and the music, like it's like a piano thing, it's just dong, and I'm like, oh god, I'm like, he's about to die.
It's like there's a I could tell that he's a real sinister guy.
Like I love that I don't know, that it visualized that's when he's the most bad, is when he is dressed
when he's
up.
wearing the black, like he's all in his black.
One thing that I thought was really funny was whenever Link is like first, I thought the movie was really funny too.
Oh, well,
like,
it had some great
like whenever Link was like, oh, you think you can toss me around, and then Kuroda's just like flipping him over his shoulder like 3 or 4 times.
When he says he's like someday you're not gonna have all that hardware and I'm gonna get you, and then he like takes his sword off and he goes, my luck's changing, and he turns around and like when he punches him and then he throws him, and then he goes, you think you could do that again? Kuroda goes, almost certainly. And he goes again and he throws. And he
when he first goes up to him, though, he's like, he's
like,
up
make a
his
fist.
He's like, come on, put your fist up. He's just having none of it. He's like, no.
I thought it was great too whenever they were locking Christina in the room.
Yeah.
Like Link goes in and locks it from the outside, and then you just hear like bam, 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 and she's like, no, you stop that.
And then she takes the knife and stabs it through, and then he like smashes and breaks it off.
Yeah, they're like boarding her up in the room. I thought that was really funny.
That was good. I liked that.
I like a lot of the kill shots with this swords.
I'll tell you something that I really liked that was very clever. That so I mean, we're not really. I mean, we're towards that part of the movie anyway.
Yeah.
But something I really liked that I wouldn't have expected, because they go to their final showdown with Ghosh, but before that they had to save Christina from Comanche Indians who were trying to kill her by tying a wet rawhide around her neck, and as it dried in the sun, it would choke her to death.
Yeah.
So they had to save her, but one guy got away, and they showed a shot of him hiding from them, and I was like, maybe that's going to come back. I don't know. And they go to their final showdown with Ghosh in the church, or I guess it was a church at one point. And who shows up but the Comanche Indians, and guess what? They all have to team up with each other. And I was like, that's interesting. And then Kuroda wants the sword, and Ghosh just goes, oh, hell, give him the damn sword.
Yeah.
And they give it to him, and I was like, resolved. I was like, now they just have to kill him.
Yeah, I thought that the Comanche stuff was the only stuff that really didn't work for me 100%.
I liked it because that came back, and I was like,
I thought that was a good
and it came back in a big way, and it surprised me because I was like, I forgot about it by the time they got to the church, and then when they started coming up, I was like, oh shit! I was like, that's right. I was like, that one guy got away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great action set piece, but I just thought it was kind of silly.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, because they mentioned the Comanches pretty early on when it's Link and Kuroda walking through, because this is another thing. A lot of Ghosh's men die conveniently. Like, he killed the 3 of them, then they kill like 4 or 5 at that homestead, and then the Comanches wipe out like 7 or 8 of them. I'm like, that was the one thing I was like, that was oddly convenient. And obviously that was set up for later whenever they come back and have to team up.
Right.
I thought that the team up was pretty interesting because Ghosh puts like 3 rifles on the table, and Link goes to grab one, and he's just like, no.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought they were going to do, because Link was like, oh, I'm going to have to teach you how to fire one of these days. I thought that they were going to like... Kuroda was going to get a rifle and have to use it, and then Link was going to get his sword or something.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that it was going to do something like
you
that.
Know what? You know what I thought was cool when they are in the the high grass there, and Kuroda is like standing on.
Oh yeah,
on Link's shoulders while he has the bow.
Yeah, that was great.
And he's shooting above like the grass to kill the Comanches. I was like, that's cool.
I thought that that high grass, that sugarcane stuff, that was really cool looking.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
I was wondering while watching that, well, later on they set it on fire, but I was wondering when they set it on fire, like, was it on some sort of stage, or did they just find an area?
It's probably on location,
yeah, and just set it all on fire. Like,
yeah, that's Link makes Kuroda make a fire blockade, so he cuts it down so that whenever they light it on fire, that you know it's not going to burn them alive.
Yeah. I was just meaning like in real life when they're making the movie.
Yeah,
like,
that was probably on location.
Do they pay the person that like is in charge of that?
Oh
like,
yeah, that's like a whole discipline in filmmaking. It's pyrotechnics and firework like that.
Well, I just mean like whoever owns that cane.
Oh yeah,
like they just pay him for that year's crop.
Probably,
yeah. So we get to the climax of it all, where
the climax.
Ghosh, it's after the Comanches have all been beaten, and Ghosh has the gun to Link, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Kuroda comes up behind Gauche, and you hear Link go, kill him!
Yeah, well, he goes to strike him down, but he stops because
waits.
Link doesn't, give him the say-so.
And then he says, kill him.
Yeah.
And then Gauche realizes he's behind him, and then he shoots him like twice or 3 times.
Yeah, he shoots him about 3 times.
That's the point where I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was actually like mad. I was like, no, it's like not Kuroda.
Well, I thought that Kuroda was going to die, but I thought that it was going to be against that Comanche that got away. He came back and he was fighting with
and then he
Kuroda with the spear.
He had like a longer fight between him and that guy, and I stabbed him.
I was like preparing myself for him to die during that scene.
Yeah.
But then whenever he made it out, I kind of relaxed myself a bit. And then it was like that, and I was like, oh, it tore me down. I was like, no.
No, I was legitimately like emotionally upset when Kuroda was shot.
The way that they shot it, or edited it maybe, like it just happened so fast.
Yeah.
And like, cause you see him go like this, and it cuts to Bronson. He's like, kill him. And like just instantly he just turns around and like 3 shots.
And then we get to the scene where he goes over to Kuroda to check his wounds and everything, and Gauche says to him about like he shoots Gauche once, and he falls down. Yeah, he falls down, and he's saying like if you kill me, you'll never get the money, you'll never know where it is, blah 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 blah. And Link takes the rifle and he goes, you know what, Gauche? He goes, you keep it. And he blasts him like 3 times to kill him. And I was like, yes, good. I was like, that was a great character arc for him because that's all he cared about. And then when this person who he befriended gets killed, he's like, nah, forget it. Yeah. And then he takes the sword back. And then the one thing I liked is he's waiting for the train to come and he takes a coin out and flips it. And he's like, and he just rides away. And I was like, it's like, yep.
Yeah, but then it zooms in on him. He left the
sword
on,
up it, hanging on the line.
Yeah. I think that my favorite part of the movie was probably when they were at the Hotel Maxim.
Enjoy the hospitality of the Hotel Maxim.
I don't know. I just really enjoyed that part. And I like whenever Gauche's men came and Kuroda and Link had to fight them all off. And then Hyatt was the last one. And he just goes bam to the right, bam to the left, and then he's
next one's gonna be in the middle.
Next one's gonna be right in the middle. So you better toss that gun out. I thought that was a great scene.
When he said toss your gun, I was taken back to the hateful.
Me too.
Toss the other one. What other one? I don't know, but you better do produce another gun.
yeah. Throw your gun out. Okay, now throw your other gun out. I don't have another gun. Well, you better shoot one out in the next 5 seconds, or else I'm gonna light you up. Yeah, that's a great scene in the Hateful Eight.
I like that.
I was also I remembered that scene during that part of the movie.
The part also in the hotel where Link has gone down the hall, I think was it with Christine or whatever her name is, and he's like, he comes by, I can't remember the Japanese guy, Kuroda, and he's like, I gotta see this.
Oh yeah.
He thinks that he's going to be sleeping with the woman.
Yeah.
And he's just in the bathtub.
The door creaks open and Kuroda has his hands down. He's like looking. And then it's almost comical.
Yeah.
Because he opens the door and like he like peers in and you just see Kuroda go and like throw a knife and it just like goes right into the door. He just closes it.
Yeah, it's like, I think he
he's
had
trying
a
to tell
message
me
for
something.
me. He's trying to tell me something. That's one thing that I really liked about
the abrupt cut when the girl, she's like, do you want me to go or stay? And he's like, holds his hand out to her, and then she unbuttons her top, and then it just immediately cuts.
Yes. I think that was because we were watching it on YouTube for free, and they probably didn't want nudity on.
Let's thank Amogos Network's free movie channel. Because if I had seen that one more time on my TV screen, I was about ready to throw my remote. Because it would just pop up in the middle. And it was watermark. Like, I'm not going to knock it. It wasn't
the only time I remember
obnoxious.
seeing it was at the beginning.
Yeah. It wasn't obnoxious.
Yeah.
But, like, when it popped up, you're like, okay.
Thanks, but go away.
One thing that I really enjoyed about the movie is that it didn't like take Japanese culture and make it like the butt of a lot of jokes or anything.
Yeah.
Like it paid a lot of respect and reverence to their culture, because Kuroda's talking about Bushido and the way the samurai a lot, and Link seemed like genuinely curious. He was like goading him a little bit every now and then, but they weren't like, haha. Oh, well, the one thing where he's like not eating the fish or whatever, but then he actually eats some of Kuroda's food. He's like, that actually does taste pretty good.
I thought there was gonna be a chopsticks gag in there or something.
No, I liked when he comes at him with the stick when he's hiding.
Oh yeah,
and he just goes, like, and just cuts it in half, and then he like goes again and he cuts another part of it off, and then cuts another part off. I'm like, oh crap! Like, I don't know, does Toshiro Mifune have like training?
I don't know,
because he's played however many samurai characters,
I would think
and
that
he
he
seems
does,
like he's pretty damn good with that sword.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
because that's
surprised.
him.
Yeah,
That's him swinging that. That's not a stun guy or anything. So I mean, him like slice and all that, and like I said, for a guy who speaks broken English, because I'm sure he knows some English, but not like enough,
right?
Yeah.
To be like, you could tell that he wasn't like dumbing down his acting to act like this Japanese man.
Yeah.
He that's actually just him coming through. But I mean, like, he's a great character.
Yeah, he was great. Speaking of the stunt work, I thought that a lot of the stunt work was pretty good. Like whenever Link he knocked Kuroda down the hill.
Oh yeah.
And then there was like another scene where they were both like tumbling down the hill.
That when he tumbles down the hill and Kuroda's running next to him like the whole way down, I'm like, holy shit.
And there's no stunt doubles in that.
No.
Like
yeah, that's
I mean Bronson taking that fall. Like that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
But the fact that Kuroda, like, he just ran down it, like, didn't fall once. Like, I think he fell once just because he tripped over Bronson, but
But like when he tripped, he got right back up.
Yeah,
and
he
just
like
kept
landed on his feet.
I was like, what?
Yeah, that was great.
That was
and
an
then
interesting one.
The horse work when they were chasing Christina, they both go down that mountain too. I thought that there was a lot of great, stunt work involved in this. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
I do. I was thinking about this, and I don't usually say anything about movies like this, but I wanted your guys' opinion on it. Is this a movie that you would like to see remade for either like Netflix or in theaters?
I was thinking about that too.
Like, is this a movie that you'd want to see the same premise retold from somebody else?
I think that
with a bigger budget and
there's not very many directors or writers that undertake westerns nowadays.
Yeah.
But like the guy that made The Magnificent Seven, like that was a good western movie, I thought. Tarantino, obviously, he does his own original work, but his westerns are great too. Yeah. But I mean, if somebody was like versed enough in making a western, I would be open to seeing it, modernized. Yeah. Because I thought that it was really like an original idea.
No, it really was.
It's like compared to all the other westerns where it's just like,
And I like westerns. Like, don't get me wrong, I like westerns. But there was something about this one where it was that originality that had never been told before, where I was just like hooked. I was like, okay, yeah, this is a very interesting premise. Like, this is what I want to follow this.
It didn't feel like an old western that like my grandpa would have been watching, Yeah. Like, it was clearly also from that time when he, all those other ones were, but this one just felt different, Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen like a lot of westerns, so I know the premise you're talking about where it's all very similar, but definitely had some original story beats.
If they were to remake it, I'd like to see it, an authentic, I don't want to say authentic, but an actual Japanese American actor or whatever,
I was actually thinking there is somebody who I think could play that role. He's been in a couple of other things. Let me, you guys talk about another point while I let this out real quick.
I don't know if the action star doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like with the
like,
exception
we're gonna
of
get Jason Statham as
well, yeah, I was gonna say like with the exception of like The Rock or Jason
Right.
Statham, like the American
yeah.
action star doesn't really exist. I mean,
Because
obviously
there's a lot of people that are foreigners that are kind of because Statham is
English,
and
obviously The Rock is American, but
but
like,
he's Samoan.
Yeah,
You know, he's half Samoan, half black. So,
the actor, you may have heard of him, Kazuki Kitamura. He was in Samurai Cat. He was also the bad guy in Godzilla Final Wars, and he's in Kill Bill. I thought, like, watching it, I was like, I could see him playing the role of Kuroda in a newer version. Now, I don't know who would play Link.
Yeah.
Link's a little bit more difficult to think who would have played
like
him.
I really can't think of any.
The last American action star is like Bruce Willis, and he's the. I mean, Link was on the older side.
Yeah,
but
he wasn't super young.
It's kind of funny if you were to throw Bruce Willis into that role, because he was in the remake of Death Wish, which was one of Charles Bronson's best known movies. I don't know. You could do that, or hear me out. Why not cast The Rock?
I just said.
Like,
did
you say that?
Yeah,
he could.
I can't see him in a Western.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
but The Rock is like one of the only remaining.
You could even throw Daniel Craig.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
In to be Link.
I can see that.
Give him a redemption after Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, I could,
because that was garbage.
I could see that because Daniel Craig is getting on the older side too, and Link was.
He also
older.
does a pretty good Southern
but
accent.
who would play Ghosh is the real question here.
That would probably. I mean, I don't have anybody in mind, but that one would probably be easier to cast.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of great villains.
I mean, that's all he was. Is just a devilish. Devilishly handsome villain gunslinger. It was almost kind of. I don't know how I want to word it. It almost took me out of the movie. It was strikingly weird. I don't know. Distracting?
Maybe distracting. Like, he didn't look like he fit from that time.
Right.
He looked like the actor himself looked very modern to our time. Like Charles Bronson, you can tell he's a 70s actor. Like he just has that look. Maybe it's the mustache, I'm not sure, but Ghost just looked like your average dude from now.
Yeah.
Like
you could probably cast who else?
Jack Shepherd from Lost.
Who's a good you could cast him as Ghosh.
Yeah.
You could definitely cast him as Ghosh. I'm trying to think of a few other.
How about Oscar Isaac?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Probably throw him in as Ghosh.
I mean, Ghosh was a Frenchman, but
okay.
He looked.
I wasn't going for like.
Yeah,
I
mean,
it
doesn't.
Where,
yeah, I'm saying it would work just fine.
I don't even know where Oscar Isaac is from. But...
Simon Pegg.
Yeah, he's a Central American.
Okay.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I was thinking about that after watching it. I was like, this movie's great on its own. But what if somebody were to remake this movie?
I feel like they only remake movies that already have, like, this huge audience built into it. And I don't know
and I'm shocked that this doesn't.
Yeah.
Like you had mentioned this movie, and then I remember I was like, oh yeah, like I remember vaguely seeing something about that. Like one of my favorite artists did like a print of this.
I feel like I've seen the artwork, at least the one that comes up on Google when you look up this movie. I feel like I've seen that before. I don't know where I would have, other than just random movies in a bin somewhere.
Right.
I don't think this one's at Walmart or anything, but I think it's somewhere in my life I've seen that.
But it is free on YouTube.
Yes, it is.
That was pretty awesome.
Well, with that being said, it's I made it clear that I really enjoyed this movie, so
Would you recommend it?
I am going to rate it an 8 out of 10. I think that it's really solid. The only part that kind of just leaves me wanting more is the Comanche stuff. That's why it's not any higher than an 8. But I think that it's really good. I got hooked super early, and I was kind of like worried because obviously I'd never seen it before either. I was like, I hope that this doesn't suck. And then, like, a half hour in, I was sucked in. So, yeah, there. That's my rating.
8 out of 10. That's,
8 out of 10.
I would probably also give it an 8 out of 10. Like I said, my biggest thing was kind of just the music, like you said, just looped the entire time. I was fine with it, but I think it really could have helped with a Ennio Morricone or something similar to that score.
Yeah.
But I definitely would recommend this. The originality to it, every actor is really just giving it their best performances. And I just overall like it. I would definitely watch this again.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely, if it was on TV, I'd be like, I'd turn it on and just go, yep, watching it.
Yeah. Just for my dislike of the length, just because I thought there was stuff that could be cut, but I'm gonna go 7 out of 10, just because I didn't like the length of it. But I mean, everything else, like everything you guys brought up, the originality, the action's great, stunt work is great. So,
all right, there we have it. Another one in the books.
We all liked Red Sun.
And well, we have another recommendation coming for us.
Yeah, you guys are gonna hate me because I just picked this like literally before he came through the door.
Okay.
Just because I haven't watched it in forever. And the samurai stuff kind of had me thinking about it. So, Turtles 3.
Okay.
Do I need to have watched...
Is that Turtles in Time?
Essentially. I mean, they time travel.
Do I need to have watched Turtles 1 and 2 to understand?
You haven't watched Turtles 1 or 2?
It's a long time ago. Like a long, long time ago.
I should have did the first one.
And it may be like a few pieces here.
Well, we can do a trilogy. All 3 of them.
I mean, we got 2 weeks in between.
I have them all on DVD.
Can we do that? Do we want to do that?
We can do a Turtle trilogy.
Yeah, we might do that.
Yeah. Okay.
We can do a Turtle trilogy.
The Turtle trilogy. But more focused on the third one because I haven't seen it in forever.
Okay.
So.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you don't want to be spoiled for the Ninja Turtles trilogy next time, make sure to watch it because we will be having a spoiler discussion next time. Thank you, as always, for listening and watching.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
I'm going to end up watching the Michael Bay one by accident and going, there is no third. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Dear God, please don't watch those.
Those are like the only ones that I have. Like watched in their entirety. I like the first one a lot.
I thought they were okay.
First one was okay, but
yeah,
as much as I want to like the second one. Anyway, that's a different podcast.
That's next time. We'll talk about that one too.
Thanks for listening and watching. Let us know what you thought about Red Sun and all this HBO Max news, and we'll catch you next time. Next time, guys. That was really weird. I got caught up in my throat there. We'll catch you next time, guys. See you later.
Bye.